In today's world, routines seem to be the backbone of our lives. From the moment we wake up to the time we go to bed, our days are filled with tasks, obligations, and responsibilities. We wake up to an alarm, rush to get ready, eat breakfast on the go, check our emails or social media accounts, and dive headfirst into our daily grind. The list goes on, and before we know it, another day has passed by in what seems like the blink of an eye. But amidst this cycle of constant activity, have you ever stopped to think about the spiritual cost of living in this routine? In the flurry of busyness, we may find ourselves so wrapped up in our tasks that we forget to engage with the one thing that can ground us, our relationship with God. Ellen G. White, in her prophetic writings, warned against allowing ourselves to fall into this trap of living without spiritual intention. She recognized that while routines are necessary for managing our lives, they can also become dangerous if we don't guard our hearts and minds. Ellen White pointed out how easy it is to get caught up in the mundane and forget that life is not just about managing tasks. It is about honoring God in everything we do. When we wake up in the morning, our first thought should not be about the pressing matters of the day, but about God and His guidance. Yet, in many cases, we rush into the demands of life, neglecting the need to spend time with God. This negligence, White argued, can quickly become a trap that steals our time and our focus from what matters most. The challenge lies in how these routines, while often necessary, can begin to define our priorities. The rush of the morning, the noise of technology, the constant bombardment of information, and the demands of work and family can all blur the lines between our relationship with God and the pressures of life. As a result, we may find ourselves living lives that are physically busy but spiritually empty. We get lost in the routine and the deeper, more meaningful parts of our faith, prayer, reflection, quiet time with God, get drowned out by the noise of the world. Ellen White highlighted that it is not enough to simply go through the motions. The danger is that we may find ourselves fulfilling all the tasks of life, but doing so without any true connection to God. In her view, this constant cycle of activity, without pause or reflection, leaves little room for the type of spiritual growth and deep relationship with God that we are called to nurture. One of the most significant insights Ellen White offered regarding the hidden trap in our daily routines was the issue of spiritual distraction. In her writings, she observed how easily the human mind can become distracted by the constant pull of external pressures. Whether it's the demands of work, the pressure to perform, the pull of technology, or the endless stream of information from the outside world, we live in an age where it is incredibly difficult to focus on God for any sustained period of time. White identified one of the root causes of spiritual distraction, the overwhelming presence of distractions. In today's world, it seems that every second is filled with something, whether it's an email notification, a phone call, a social media alert, or the constant demands of work. Our minds are bombarded with information from all sides, and this constant activity can pull our attention away from what matters most, our connection with God. Ellen White was not against technology or progress, but she did warn against the impact that these distractions have on our spiritual lives. She understood that the human mind is naturally drawn to what is immediate and tangible. The distractions of daily life, whether it's the pressure to succeed in our careers, the demands of family life, or the relentless pace of technology, pull us away from more lasting, eternal concerns. White noted that when we allow these distractions to take hold of our attention, we lose sight of God's guidance. This distraction doesn't happen overnight. It is a gradual process. At first, we might simply check our phones during a moment of downtime, but before long, we're distracted at every moment, unable to focus on anything for long periods of time. In fact, studies today show how constant interruptions from technology can lower our ability to focus for long periods, a condition often referred to as attention fragmentation. Ellen White, in her day, predicted this mental fragmentation, seeing how easily people could be swayed by the busyness and distractions of life. White's counsel was to take control of our minds and not let them be swept away by the distractions of the world. She urged us to reclaim our attention, to choose to focus on what is eternal, and to prioritize time with God above all other concerns. She advocated for moments of quiet reflection, time spent in prayer, and a conscious effort to turn our thoughts away from distractions and toward God. This, she said, was key to breaking free from the trap of spiritual distraction. Breaking free from the trap of distraction is not easy, but it is possible. Ellen White offered practical guidance on how to overcome the daily distractions and re-establish a life of spiritual purpose. She understood that true transformation does not come from simply changing our outward routines, but requires a radical shift in how we view and prioritize our lives. First and foremost, White emphasized the importance of dedicating the first moments of our day to God. "The morning is a sacred time," she wrote, "where we should intentionally seek God's presence before diving into the busyness of life." She believed that starting the day with prayer, Bible study, and reflection would set the tone for the rest of the day. This simple but profound practice helps us to align our hearts with God's will and gain the strength we need to face the challenges ahead. In her writings, Ellen White also highlighted the importance of finding moments of quiet and solitude throughout the day. In a world that values constant activity, taking a moment to step away from the noise is vital. Whether it's a short walk outside, a few moments of silence, or a break from work to focus on God, White believed that these quiet moments were essential to spiritual renewal. They allow us to hear God's voice, reflect on His Word, and recalibrate our hearts. Another vital aspect of breaking free from the trap of distraction is choosing to eliminate unnecessary noise and activity. White encouraged believers to carefully evaluate their daily routines and remove anything that took time away from their spiritual growth. This might mean cutting down on social media usage, limiting time spent on entertainment, or rethinking how we spend our energy and attention. White's counsel was to make time for the things that nurture our souls and allow us to grow closer to God. Finally, White emphasized the importance of cultivating a heart of gratitude and trust in God. The more we focus on His goodness, the less we are distracted by the demands of the world. White wrote about the power of thankfulness to change our perspectives and attitudes. When we make a conscious effort to thank God throughout the day for His blessings, we begin to see life through a lens of gratitude, which helps to shift our focus away from the distractions of the world. As we begin to implement these changes, we begin to experience a transformation in our daily lives. No longer are we slaves to the distractions of the world. We are free to live with purpose, focus, and spiritual vitality. The daily routine, once a trap, now becomes a means of honoring God in all we do. Prayer, meditation, and quiet reflection are no longer afterthoughts, but integral parts of our lives. Ellen White spoke often about the peace and joy that come from living intentionally. When we choose to prioritize God in our daily routines, we experience a deep sense of peace that transcends the worries of the world. Our lives are no longer characterized by the stress of constant busyness, but by a steady, peaceful walk with God. White also emphasized that this transformation is not just for our benefit, but for the benefit of those around us. When we live with purpose and intentionality, we become a testimony to others of what it means to walk closely with God. Our actions, our words, and our attitudes begin to reflect the love and peace of Christ. People begin to notice the difference, and it becomes an opportunity to share the hope we have in Jesus. Ultimately, breaking free from the hidden trap of routine allows us to live a life that is both spiritually fulfilling and grounded in purpose. Ellen White's writings call us to a higher standard, a life where our routines are not just about completing tasks, but about honoring God in everything we do. The hidden trap inside our daily routine is one that we all face, but it is not a trap we must remain in. Ellen White's counsel provides a clear path to breaking free from distraction and reclaiming our spiritual vitality. By making time for God, cultivating quiet moments, and intentionally living for Him, we can transform our daily routines from mundane tasks into acts of worship. The choice is yours. Will you continue to live a distracted life, or will you make the intentional decision to prioritize God in all you do? The hidden trap is real, but so is the way out. It's time to break free and live a life filled with purpose, peace, and deep connection with God.